Welcome to another video, guys. Today we're gonna be talking about Gracchos and how you could be unlocking him for free just by playing the game because of the cool new event we just got in Raid. The champion is definitely pretty awesome, and in this video I'm gonna go through all of his skills, what builds you could be going for, if you should be building him for damage, for support, or something in between, as well as what relics, masteries, blessings, and all of that other stuff you could be putting on him to get best results. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you do, a like and subscribe would be awesome, and don't forget you can check me out live on stream each Tuesday and Thursday, where I give you guys free account takeovers so you guys can progress much easier and faster into the game. Also, speaking about progressing fast in the game, don't forget you can start Raid the right way with my special download link, which gives you 4 amazing champions as soon as you start, and you're also gonna have 24 hours to write yourself a promo code in the promo code section to get yourself even another amazing legendary champions right out the get-go. Hope you enjoy. Now, let's get into the video. Okay, so yeah, like I said, right now there is this new Infernal Deck of Fate event going on, which gives you a guaranteed legendary champion, but in reality it gives you a pretty big kick in the face kind of deal with very stupid ways of actually getting points in this one, which would be get artifacts and accessories, which is basically dungeon divers, everybody's favorite mode, and also summon souls from soul stones, which a lot of us actually already spent plenty of our mortal soul stones just because we just had a pretty decent 2x event on those. But yeah, all around this event is kind of on the scammy side. You're really not gonna be able to do this as a free to play unless you have been really preparing for this thing, and even if you have, it's still gonna be on the questionable side going all in for it. But the champion really is awesome, let's not pretend he isn't. But if you really want to get him, you're gonna have to complete the whole thing, which is not gonna be easy. As you can see, the points breakdown is 80 points for a mortal soul stone. Immortals give you 800 and Eternal Soul Stones give you 4000, so if you want to complete the whole thing, then Eternal Soul Stone is what it's gonna cost you. With the Immortal Soul Stone, you could be doing it with basically 50, which is pretty insane. Like, you really can't be expected to hold this many. And for Immortal Soul Stones, well, that's just in the theoreticals at that point, what's that, 500? So definitely not gonna be easy, but if you're laying around on this many souls, or you're planning on spending thousands upon thousands of energy, well, maybe you actually can unlock him. If you do try to get this guy from doing dungeon divers, the points breakdown is kind of point per energy, so for each 20 energy you're going to be getting around 20 points, and I think I'm being generous here, by the way, because you get 20 points for rank 6 epic. So I think it does roughly add up to about 20, 15, 20, something like that. So point for point, if you have 40,000 energy laying around, you might just want to be doing a whole lot of event dungeons and stuff like that, and that is also a way to get this, but it is by no means a realistic expectations for most players, so it's not gonna be something a lot of us are actually gonna be able to get. I myself am wondering if I should be going for this thing just because I already have myself a Gracchos. Getting a second one wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, but also let's not pretend it's gonna be account changing or anything like that either. Either way, enough about the event. Now let's see the piece of resistance, also known as a Gracchos Turn-Drake. Let's see how this bad boy looks. Starting off with his skills, we can see on the A1 we have Chaff Reaper. Attacks one enemy, will ignore 25% of the target's defense. Sounds good, but it's really not a damaging skill. Make no mistake, this guy can deal a decent amount of damage, but he is no Thor, he's no Marius, he is none of the above. He is much more looking like something like an Ugo, who is again a support champion that can smack a little, but it is by no means gonna be a damage carry for you. He also heals all allies with less than 50% HP by 10% of this champion's max HP, so if you do bang out like something like 100k HP on him, you will be dishing out a nice little 10k heal on everybody under 50% HP, which is basically a lot like Arbiter's heal on her A3, where she does heal all allies by 25 of their max HP in that case, if they have less than 50 HP. So it's not exactly a very reliable heal, but it's a heal nonetheless, so you could be supporting your team a little. On the A2, we have Color of the Week, attacks all enemy 2 times, and each hit will ignore 25% defense against targets with less than 50% HP. The first hit has 75% chance of placing a 60 degrees defense debuff on each enemy for 2 turns, and the second hit has a 75 chance of placing block buffs on each enemy for 2 turns. Each hit will ignore 25% resistance against targets with less than 50% HP. And this thing books out to 100% on both fronts, so that's pretty reliable. And it's only on a 3-turn cooldown after you've booked it out, so very lovely to have something like this on this guy. And this is basically the main reason why people compare him to Ugo, because this this is the main reason why you would be using this guy on something like Hydra, let's say, where he really does shine, not gonna lie. It's very nice having the decreased defense. This is basically the biggest amplifier of damage for any dungeon team, and the block buffs is absolutely essential against things like Hydra, so very, very nice to have this on the same skill. The damage he does kind of sounds like it's gonna be big, but the multipliers are just pretty crappy. You could get a little bit of damage out of him, but you're definitely not bringing him because of this damage skill. It does sound like he could smack, alas, smack he does not. And on the A3, we have a Dragonkin Warcry. Again, books out the free turns, places a 60% increased defense buff on all allies for 2 turns, and also places a block damage buff on all allies for 1 turn. Absolutely amazing skill. Being able to have block damage on a free turn cooldown is pretty amazing. He is kind of comparable to somebody like the Mifa, but yeah, as you guys know, block damage is a very special skill. Not that very many champions actually provide it this reliably, and this guy can completely unlock unkillable teams for you and clan boss, so that would be absolutely amazing if you don't have other ways to actually do so. So if this means that you will unlock 1 key Ultra Nightmare full auto, definitely do what you can to get this man ASAP, because he will be unlocking some crazy progress for you in that manner. The increased defense is also pretty lovely to have. All around great skill again to be having, and these are a couple of buffs, which is important because you might actually consider building this man in protection, but more about that in a bit. As for his passive, he also has one of those. If an ally has more than 50% HP and is under any buffs placed by this champion, that ally deals 10% more damage. If an ally has less than 50% HP and is attacked by an enemy under any debuffs placed by this champion, that ally receives 10 less damage. If there are multiple champions, only one of these occurs, yada yada. All around pretty nice damage increase you're going to be getting out of him, and also a little bit of damage mitigation. So bringing somebody like this in Chimera would be pretty nice. It could protect your idiots from dying with the damage mitigation. It's going to help you deal more damage when they're full. That kind of stuff definitely sounds good to me. He also has an aura for all battles, increased HP by 28%. Not the best out of the lot, but better to have one than to have none. Okay, so from what we read, you can already establish he is an amazing support champion. And let's hop on down to Hell Hades to see how they're rating him for each area. We can see he's a 4.5, definitely nothing to scoff at for sure. And we can see he'd be amazing for Demon Lord, for Hydra, very nice for Spider, for Dragon. For Chimera, he's a 4.5. I can see him being a 5-star for somebody if you're having trouble actually surviving. Getting that block damage could be absolutely crucial on a lot of places. And for hard mode, you could be utilizing him very well on Dragon and whatnot. But yeah, all around, he is a great jack of all trades, and he is a master of some too. So if you unlock this champion very early, he will completely transform your account, I can tell you that much. But you can see he's not exactly an arena champion. You could be using him in arena with decent success, but he is not exactly meta, so there's that too. As for the build, here's how I have mine built. It's a pretty universal support-like combination of sets. You get the picture. The reflex here has a 40% chance of reducing a random skill's cooldown, and we also have the Merciless kind of doing the same thing, with 30% chance to decrease a random skill's cooldown by 1 turn. But this only procs when dealing damage, so it's not as reliable. It's not gonna happen when you're using your A3, for instance, but the other 2 skills are definitely good contenders for this reset to happen. So basically, you give him the biggest chance of getting his skills back so he can do this thing more often, that kind of stuff. For the stats you would be looking for, you're gonna notice mine is built a little bit on the crappy side, not gonna lie. Like, these boots just refuse to roll plus 12 speed. Oh, I forgot to actually glyph these out. Let's go ahead and write that wrong. I'm not gonna go too crazy with these, but at least 3% sounds good. He does scale off of HP, so you're gonna notice I'm totally ignoring anything attack percent on him. Even if he has them, he just doesn't get anything out of those, so we're not gonna be wasting glyphs on those just for the sake of inflating his power for no reason. But yeah, for his boots, you're gonna be looking for speed boots. For his chest, it's gonna be preferable to have him in HP percent or in accuracy. Either one of those would work really well for him, because you do need accuracy to land your stuff. On his glove, I opted for crit rate, so we can squeeze a little bit more damage out of him. You can notice we're not even crit capped here, we're at 99, but it's actually not that bad. It's basically like statistical error kind of situation. At least the gloves did roll a little bit of speed for me, so we got that going for us. The shield, basically we stitched together the crit rate, a little bit of speed, a little bit of accuracy, HP, that kind of stuff. Here's same kind of deal, and so much for the weapon too. For the accessories, they're really sad, not gonna lie. Like, my ring rolled triple freaking attack percent on an HP ring. Not ideal, would have loved if this thing went on HP percent instead, but we're just doing it for the sake of having a Merciless accessory here, guys, just so we can get the 4-piece bonus. Same can be said for the amulet amulet as well. We're actually not sad that we use a accuracy amulet. Am I calling it an amulet? It's a banner, guys. But it did roll flat HP, it did roll no speed, so absolutely dumb item, not gonna lie. Like, it's a total sell if this was anything other than merciless, if we gotta be completely honest, but it is what it is. The things we do for the 4-piece set. Last but not least, we have a little bit of pinpoint crit damage amulet. Sadly, it refuses to ascend into crit damage. Already rolled it once. No, I actually didn't. We didn't have enough. But yeah, you get the picture. It would be best if it's even more crit damage so we can get a little bit more damage out of him. But again, guys, this is a little bit of a min-maxing situation. You can ignore crit rate and crit damage completely if you're having trouble reaching decent amounts of speed, decent amount of accuracy, decent amount of HP. Crit rate and crit damage is something you leave for the little bit later game accounts. And to be honest, I myself probably should have not gone for crit rate, crit damage given how slow my dragon is, but it's still gonna get the job for the places I might be using him for. This is just one of the builds you could be using. You could also just build him in a full classic full perception piece. If you're in your first year of the game or you're just mid-level kind of stuff, you could just slap him in 6-piece perception and feel good about it. You could also opt for 9-piece protection if you have the accessories for him. I myself actually do have the accessories to build him a 9-piece protection, so I might reconsider giving him a little bit of protection like that, because when 9-piece, you actually give plus 10% damage for the couple of buffs we would be placing with this bad boy, so it would not be the worst idea in the world. But for now, this is also a pretty okay build, and there's even a third option. Like, if you decide you want to really squeeze out the max damage this guy could do while still doing his support duties, you could actually build him in something like 4-piece lethal set and still get some pretty mad results like that. But again, don't get it twisted. You gotta get speed going, you gotta have enough accuracy to land the stuff, and you gotta have a decent amount of HP so you can also provide some healing. The crit rate and crit damage, those are just gravy. For the masteries, here's what we went with. One of my clanmates helped me with his masteries on this one, not gonna lie, but we can also check what the situation is over at Hell Hades. And here you can see the situation is kind of similar. This is for standard PvE. As for late game PvE, here the situation is kind of closer to what I showed, but again, basically same stuff, offense plus support. He also does have PvP masteries loaded up in here, but like I said, you're really not gonna be that amazed by what he can be bringing in the PvP section, so probably not worth it. As for the blessings, might as well check him out here as well. As for an awakening, Nature's Wrath might make a good amount of sense. Crushing Rend feels a little bit weird if you asked me. Faultless Defense is also an option, but honestly, I do believe you'd be much better off if you just go with Cruelty, guys. I think Cruelty makes a little bit more sense given you're probably gonna be using this guy against things like Hydra or Chimera, so dropping the defense thanks to your double hitter A2 sounds like a pretty good bargain to me, especially with the big ass awakening I managed to snag myself from the Summon Rush reward not that long ago. I actually did make a video about it and it was pretty fun. So yeah, I think if I were you, I'd go for Cruelty, because if I were me, I did go for Cruelty. As for a relic, there's really nothing that screams Gracchos, if we gotta be completely honest, but the Erefi Coronet actually does make a little bit of sense, even though the main stat on this thing is attack, so you don't get absolutely anything because of that, but you also roll a little bit of accuracy out of it later. If you manage to get the 15, you start getting some HP, so not the worst, and you're also gonna increase your damage by 1% each time you place a debuff. And as you guys saw, we do have a couple of debuffs on the A2, so you will be getting that 30% increased damage eventually against things like Hydra, Chimera. You should be having a jolly good time with him. Now that I said that, technically you could also build this man in a 9-piece Feral set, because he also does bring a couple of debuffs on the A2, so that would again be something like the protection stuff. You will be dealing 5 more damage per each debuff placed by the wearer, and also the things that Feral does bring along the way ain't too bad either. Bunch of accuracy, bunch of speed, so definitely not the worst thing in the world. It's basically like a perception set for the most part, but at the end you also get this 5%. If you cannot pull off a 9-piece on Feral though, don't even bother, it's not gonna be worth it, but if you can, definitely sounds like a good plan. Enough talking, let's see how he actually does look like in the Hydra, where I think he would be shining the most if we gotta be completely honest. And here I'd say he would be a pretty good replacement for my Feral. They kind of have the same thing going for them. Feral does also have the nice little passive of increasing damage if we get a lot of buffs, and the main part is he also brings the block buffs, so that would be a good example of where Gracchos might also feel pretty nice. So let's just try him like that, and yeah, let's just go in, see how it feels like that. Okay, so let's start off with the buffs. My Gracchos really needs to be a lot faster than what he is right now though. Like, I should respect him a little bit more with the gear. Okay, we landed a provoke. Even my Marius is faster than Gracchos, so that says a lot how slow he is right now. But yeah, the main reason why we'd be using this guy is for the block buffs here. There we go, lands on everybody, pretty reliable. Marius doing big boy hits, look at that. God, I love seeing this horse work. But yeah, my Gracchos is literally not even in the conversation for the most part right now. Here's the big ol' block debuffs, pretty nice stuff. So yeah, all around this guy is gonna be helping you big time in Hydra. Very nice defense, very nice support. Just all around a great part to be having on your roster. Okay, let's go with the... Oh, look at that. We actually did deal some not that bad damage over there. Look at what this horse is doing. 8 milli right there. All of mechs exposed. Love to see that. Love to see that. Would have been nice if we can test the A2 while all mechs were exposed. That would have given us a little bit of extra excitement to see some big numbers go burr from him, but the necks are coming back before we get to do that, just because we're slow as balls. Okay, we're still gonna be able to do that on half the exposed necks. Let's see how it looks like. Not bad. Couple of 150s. But, again, not your main damage source by any means. Anyway, we did the normal chest here, so I can just quit this so we can see what kind of damage. Would have been nice if I clicked what kind of damage we had out of him, but whatever. It wasn't much, I can tell it that much, it wasn't much. Anyway, let's also bring him in some wave-based content so you get to see how he looks like there. Let's just go for the last floor on Doom Tower. I just hope he's actually fast enough to do his thing. Surely he's gonna be fast enough with a couple of speed leads. Okay, and let's see what that A2 does against these waves. Really nothing spectacular, guys. Just barely made a dent over there. So yeah, he is not a damage dealer, guys. Even with the crit rate, crit damage we've built into him. For a support champion, it's not bad amount of crit rate, crit damage, but it is nowhere near actual damage dealer situations. You can just see what his multipliers look like. Like, look at this nonsense on the A1. 0.1% on the HP. Strong. I don't know about that. On the A2, 0.15. Average. And on the A3, there's no multiplier, so yeah, you get it. Strong to average at best. For a support, sure, but for a damage dealer, not even close to damage dealing results over there. So yeah, final verdict, Gracchos, absolutely amazing champion to be having, but have him for the right reasons. He is a support that does a little bit of extra damage, so if you're trying to min-max, if you're trying to get some damage out of your supports, definitely not the worst champion to have on your roster. He will be unlocking some great progress for you in Clan Boss. He's great to have on the Hydra, would do well on Chimera as well. All around solid champion to get, but don't break your neck over trying to get him if you already have some amazing champions that fit that role. So that's gonna be it for this video, guys. I hope this helps you figure out if you should really try hard a lot on this event to get yourself Gracchos, and I hope this helps you build him right if you already are lucky enough to have him. A like and subscribe would be awesome, and don't forget you can download Raid from my download link if you want to start Raid the right way and get your hands on some amazing champions. Thanks for watching. I'm Gracchos5, and I'll see you in my next video or stream.